Hello, everybody, and welcome into another season, not a season preview, playoff preview here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, covering the Wild, Mariah Stark, and newly for the Golden Knights, Cooper Krigbaum used to cover the Arizona Coyotes, Utah Hockey Club, but he is now in the Golden Knights territory, which we haven't had a writer for the Golden Knights for a while. So, Cooper, how's it going?
It's going good. It's exciting having the team you cover make the playoffs. I haven't felt this way in a little while, so no, it's a good time to have some playoff hockey in April for sure.
For sure, yeah. It's Utah didn't make the playoffs this season either, or really close. So you're probably like, oh, they're gonna make the playoffs, and I'm not doing that anymore. But yeah, they were right until the end, but didn't end up making it. But yeah, the Golden Knights won the Pacific Division. Back on top there, the Canucks won it last season. They're not in the playoffs this year, which is kind of a weird kind of switch. The Golden Knights did make the playoffs last year too, but didn't win the Pacific. Minnesota, they were in it right to the end. We did not know this matchup for a long time. It kept bouncing back and forth. Are they going to be the Blues? Are they going to be the Wild? Could the Wild not even make the playoffs at all? But they're there. So, Mariah, how's it going?
Oh my goodness gracious! Last night was chaos, just pure chaos. But they're in. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it was up in the air for a little bit there, and the Blues just kept winning, and they made their way in and almost took the second or the first wild card position away. And you could have met the Winnipeg Jets too, which they're not. The Golden Knights aren't an easy matchup too.
I'm okay with this.
So let's jump right in to this matchup. And Cooper, I'll start with you with the Golden Knights. Their journey to the playoffs, they've been in a playoff position for most of the season. Probably the only time they weren't was at the beginning when everyone's kind of early on. But what was their journey like? They, of course, won the Pacific and were pretty dominant all season. What do you see their journey being like up to this point?
Yeah, I think heading into this year, there's a lot of unknown. They lost a lot of key pieces. Marshall Schultz went to Nashville. That was one of the bigger ones. Chandler Stevenson. They lost a lot of pieces that I think a lot of people thought were going to hurt them a lot more than they actually did. But I think everyone kind of knew they were going to be in the playoffs, and I think that was pretty expected given when you have a roster of Jack Eichel. The list goes on. It's kind of hard to see a team like that miss the playoffs, but I think it was just a matter of where the team was going to finish. So obviously Pacific Division champs. I think it was the fourth time in the past 8 years in their existence, which is an absurd rate at winning the division, starting out as a franchise. But yeah, I think everyone expected them to make the playoffs for sure, but I think it was, like I said, where they're going to come in and rank. So, I think given the season Winnipeg had, you're fine with being the second seed in the Western Conference, playing against the first wildcard team. So, all in all, I think it was a good year. Obviously they have their flaws just like every other team, but I think this is one of the more stronger teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
For sure. Talking about Marchessault moving on to Nashville, and he didn't have a really good season there. The Nashville Predators were one of the worst teams in the league. Really surprisingly, when all the signings that they made. And the Golden Knights, they got Riley Smith back as well. And they have a pretty strong roster with Jack Eichel leading the way there still. Last couple seasons, he's been just back to what everyone expected him to be in Buffalo all the time. So, yeah, they're a very strong team, and they're going to be tough to beat. All right, Mariah, with the Wild, they've had an up and down season, lots of injuries. We talked about before recording how many injuries they've had. They were missing their top two centers for a while. They were missing their top defenseman. They're missing the best winger that they've ever had in their history, Kaprizov, for most of the season. So they're in the playoffs, though. In spite of that, which is great. So what was their journey like?
Oh my God. I could write a book. So I'll make this as short as I can. They start off amazingly. I still can't believe how well they started out. They were top of the league or close to the top of the league for that's so long ago now.
Yeah.
A month or two that it seemed like it couldn't be stopped. And then they lost Kaprizov, Eriksson-Ek. Pretty much every single person on their team had an injury at least once during the season. But I noticed someone tweeted out, I think Russo tweeted out that Kaprizov missed half the season. Eriksson-Ek missed 40%. Brodin was like 30-some games. Two of their top forwards and a top defenseman. Spurgeon was out 2 or 3 times. Middleton was out. Faber was out. I'll stop there. So they were up, they were down, couldn't seem to get a losing streak. They came back up just to lose again, and it seemed like they weren't going to stop losing. Then they got Kaprizov and Eriksson-Ek back and were able to kind of keep their hopes alive just with the last 20 seconds of the season left. But Russo pointed out, like, when you look at those numbers, it's an amazing thing they made it to the postseason at all. Like, after how great of a start they had, and then they started falling apart, I was getting really frustrated because I'm like, you could see the talent and you can see they can win games. And even with Kaprizov and Eriksson-Ek out, or the different players they had out, they were making wins happen, mainly thanks to Gustafsson, who I take back every bad thing I've ever said about that person, because he came in for them clutch this year, and it's just amazing to believe they actually made it that far, because most teams, you lose those players. I think at one point, Spurgeon's our captain, Kaprizov's an assistant, and Foligno's their other one. All 3 of those guys were out at one point. So they had Eriksson-Ek, Zucker, they had fill-ins for leadership even, and they still managed to make a playoff run. It's crazy and baffling, and as bad as it was that it came down to the last 20 seconds last night, I'm glad they're in.
For sure. And they're healthy now, which is crazy. And now they're all healthy. How percentage-wise of health, not sure, because they're not going to say. Are they all 100%? Probably not.
No.
But no one is.
They're close, but they're way better than they were.
Yeah. I mean, having them in the lineup, like I was saying in the Florida Panthers preview, it's like having an 80% Matthew Tkachuk is better than not having him at all. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Having an 80% Kaprizov is better than not having him. And that's big. I mean, he scored an overtime winner, I think, a couple games ago.
The San Jose game, yep.
Right? So he's already back into it. So it's all good.
He actually had 2 goals that game, and Eriksson-Ek had 4, and that was their return to the lineup.
As much as they missed them.
Granted, it was the Sharks, but...
There you go. All right. Speaking of players, Cooper, the Golden Knights, lots of stars, lots of guys that had great seasons. And Pavel Dorofeyev is one I'll just mention quickly right now. I mean, we're probably going to mention him. I think he's 34 goals. This is a guy that, I mean, he's just broken out. Anyone you want to talk about that everyone should be watching in this series for the Golden Knights?
Yeah, kind of adding on to Dorofeyev. I mean, I think that's a name a lot of people hear, and they're like, who's this guy? I've never heard of him, and he scored 30 goals. So, I mean, he's been really impressive. I think he's one of the few Golden Knights draft picks that they've actually developed and kept in the system. As we know, they like to trade their first-round picks and their players that they pick. So I think it's kind of cool to see that fruition come as he developed within the system. I mean, he was, I believe he was a 3rd, 4th rounder. I mean, he wasn't a high draft pick whatsoever. So, I mean, it's cool to see that progression. But, I mean, we already kind of mentioned it. It's hard not to mention Jack Eichel. I mean, just the year he's having. I mean, 27 goals, 93 points, career high. I mean, this is what people in Buffalo thought he was going to be. Just didn't pan out there. But, I mean, he's been the heart and soul of this team throughout the entire season. And I think he's going to show it again in the playoffs. I mean, he can make plays really wherever he is. And I think his two-way game is really on display at the Four Nations face-off. I mean, even I was in awe at seeing that. Like, it was pretty cool to see, like, I mean, obviously he's arguably the Golden Knights' best player, but to see him at that stage with so many people watching and to take notice was pretty awesome, just because he can score, but he's also really good defensively. And I think that was a trait that a lot of people didn't see beforehand. And then obviously in net, Aiden Hill, former Arizona Coyote, had to sneak it in there. But he's had a terrific year. I mean, he signed a 6-year contract extension with the team. I mean, 32, 13, 5. I mean, this guy, he's done it all in the back end. And I highly doubt, unless Hill gets injured, we'll see Samsonov for the rest of the playoffs. He's a free agent, obviously, after this year. So that we might have seen his last game as a Golden Knight. But Aiden Hill's been really solid this year. And I think he's really provided that stability in net that Vegas always seems to be turning. I mean, we've seen Robin Leonard, Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, it's almost like a revolving door. And I think to get some stability there is really going to help him. And I think having these 3 pieces on their A game is really going to help him in this series.
Sure. I mean, Eichel, like we said, he's turned back to what he was supposed to be, and everyone was hoping he would be in Buffalo. And biggest thing was that injury that he had that he got fixed. And he's now, I mean, maybe not surprising that he's become back to that player. And the Golden Knights just benefiting from it. He's their star. He's their big guy. And they do got a lot of supporting pieces, like you mentioned, too, that could make a difference in a series. And we'll see any of them kind of step up, and probably we'll mention them later on in the show as well. All right, Mariah, for the Wild, I mean, there's the obvious guy, Kirill Kaprizov, which everyone's going to be watching. Of course, you can mention him as players to watch in this series for the Wild.
Well, yeah, Kaprizov's my number one, but Eriksson-Ek, I would say as well. I want to say to watch them, but I feel like it's going to still be. I mean, they've scored since they returned to the lineup, but I feel like expecting them to do something right away in game 1 or 2 is going to be a lot of pressure. They're going to try, but they may need a little time to kind of adjust to not. They just came back, and now playoff hockey is going to be another notch, so they kind of need to get back there. Otherwise, there's a line I'm hoping they put back together, and it's Boldy, Foligno, and Eriksson-Ek. It's nicknamed the Beef Line, for those that remember the Grief Line. And I saw it 1 game or 2 games, and I absolutely loved it because they can put Kaprizov and Zuccarello back together and let them be their thing. But this line has, like, everything, and it makes Boldy go to the net, which is what he needs to do to score goals. Because when he's with Kaprizov or Rossi, he just kind of floats around the outside, and it's like, but you're much better in front of the goalie, and that's what Foligno and Eriksson-Ek do. So I'd say that line for sure. And Gustafson, because, I mean, Fleury, unfortunately, like, I love the man. He is amazing. I did a one-on-one interview with him, and for everybody wondering, he lives up to it. He exceeds his reputation. He is phenomenal. Probably have seen the last of his career, though, because Gustafson is their starter, and they have to ride that bus, literally, as long as they can. The Wild have been known to try to float their goalies back and forth in the postseason, and it does not work. So I'm hoping it's Gus, and as long as nothing happens to Gus, the Fleury's going to have to watch, and I think he's perfectly okay with that. As much as it's going to suck to watch from the bench, he just wants to win. So if they can... It's a long shot, but it would be really cool for them to win for him. But
yeah, I mean, especially against his former team, the Golden Knights, for him to watch that for sure. I had a swan song in the regular season. He's going to retire, which, I mean, it was inevitable. I mean, you'd think he was going to retire the last few years, but keeps going. Sounds like this is it.
He's for sure done. Yes.
Yeah, so this is his last bit in the playoffs. We'll see if he gets a start. I mean, he's probably hoping not, because that means Gustafson's been good. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens for him. All right, Cooper, for keys to victory for the Golden Knights. They were 3-0 in the season series, outscored the Wild 12-4. So I mean, they were the dominant team. I mean, I don't know circumstances of were there a lot of injuries at the times for those games, but what are the keys to victory for the Golden Knights to come out of this series?
I think first and foremost, I think every coach preaches this, but it's got to be special teams. You know, I mean, I think especially with the power play. The power play is second in the league, 28.8%, only behind the Jets. I mean, if you want to make a deep run in these playoffs, you're going to have to keep that hot. I mean, throughout the entire season, it was one of the best. And I think you can get to a certain point almost where just because you made the playoffs, you can kind of slow down. We got to keep this up, So I think if they can keep the power play up, that'll definitely help them. The PK's definitely not as good, but I think power play and just special teams in general is going to be big. But I think we talked about some of the bigger names like Dorofeev and Eichel, but I think depth is going to play a big role in this series. I mean, we haven't even mentioned guys like Mark Stone, Tomas Hertl. I mean, these are guys that are going to play big roles in these playoffs and have lots of playoff experience, as we know. So I think having all four lines playing an impact when they're on the ice is going to be huge. And I think just maintaining that just consistency that each line can make something happen is going to be really key. So I think those two are going to be some of the biggest, but I think as well as just defensive stability. I think the Golden Knights have a really, really solid defensive structure. I mean, I think we've seen it all year. I know they've had a couple of injuries here and there, but I think just maintaining the fort down. I mean, obviously it helps when you have a guy like Adin Hill in net because he can make a lot of hard saves, but I think just having those three things on point is really going to help them in this series.
I mean, the goaltending, Adin Hill, he was 2-0. Of course, they won all three games, but he had two of the starts. Samsonov had one of them. 950 save percentage in the two games he did start. While the Wild, they had all three goalies had a start in all three games. Fleury Gustafsson and Jesper Wallstedt all appeared, and all weren't very good. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be that depth, and of course the goaltending is always huge as well. So Golden Knights, I mean, they're set up the way it looks like. Kaprizov, for the record, Kaprizov only played one of the games, and he had 2 goals in that game. So he's that's just looking at a difference maker. He had 2 of the 4 goals they scored. So I think that's going to make a difference as well. All right, Mariah, the Wild. I mean, they haven't won against the Golden Knights this season, so this is going to be huge to get at least one win. What is a key to victory, or keys to victory for the Wild to get at least one win?
Score goals. Something they've struggled to do for like the last 2 months, which they finally had like an explosion in the last how many games, but okay, I'm not going to go on a rant. They need to they need to play simple. They get even Kaprizov, who I love to death, gets too caught up in trying to make the pretty plays, the perfect passes, the setups. Just shoot the puck. And even in the games where they shoot the puck a lot, get it on net, get close to the net. Stop. I love point shots because, and honestly, I guess I should reverse that a little bit. Get shots from the point and tip them, because that's where they found the most success. Boldy, Rossi, Foligno. I think almost every single player on the team has had a tip-in goal, besides the defenseman. But they've figured out, and then they get away from it, and they don't keep. It's like you need to cause chaos in front of the net. It's where you're good. It's where, especially. They missed that with Eriksson-Ek. The man is literally, ask any team in the NHL when they play him. They hate it because he's a pest. He's big. He's annoying, but he does the job and he blocks the goalie, and it's hard to move him. Mm-hmm. And they need to follow that. Obviously, everything else is, for them, it's a long list of things because their last few weeks were a struggle. The penalty kill has been murder. So that needs to be better. They did have a streak where they were getting better. But yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting because, again, like you said, Kaprizov played one of the 3 games. I think Eriksson-Ek was in, same 2, like they both missed 2 of the 3 games, I believe. Mm-hmm. And those guys are 2 of your key guys. And I don't even know who else was missing because those are the 2 key names you see. I guarantee there was more than just them missing. And if Wallstedt played, chances were Gustafsson was hurt at that time too. So this is going to be a whole revamped team with a boost that hopefully they're ready to go and just start like they did at the beginning of the season. Like it just needs to be a fresh start. Just play like you did at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the names that are on here, there's some guys that like Brendan Gaunce. I mean, he's at a game. There's a few guys that are on here that I'm like, oh, who's Dinov, who is not with the team anymore?
Lauko. I could go on and on and on.
There's a lot of players on this list that didn't actually. Travis Dermott. I mean, jeez. Yeah, there's they had some fill-ins for sure. All right, let's talk about. I mean, Cooper, you mentioned, I believe it was the penalty kill. You said that isn't the best. What is a weakness that the Golden Knights that you're worried about that could potentially come back to bite them in this series?
Yeah, I think the PK is probably got to be number one. I believe it's 23rd, 24th in the league. It's somewhere in the back end where you definitely don't want the PK to be as one of the better teams in the league. But yeah, I think that's going to be an area of concern. Just because, I mean, when you're going up against a guy like Kaprizov, I mean, you probably want to stop him on the power play. So yeah, I think it's going to be one of the main areas of concern. I think you got to slow it down. You got to just get in sync. And I don't know if it's going to help them that they're in the playoffs or it's going to not help them because the pressure's on. I think that kind of can be a balance for teams that you figure out in the playoffs. But I also think just injuries. I mean, I don't know if this would really be a weakness, but I mean, there's guys, Hurdle, Theodore. I mean, these guys, I mean, really good players that contribute for Vegas, but it's like, you got to stay healthy. I mean, I don't know if you really consider that a weakness, but I mean, I do think that's something they got to watch out for. And thank you, Vegas, for not doing any LTIR stuff.
Yeah.
I think the whole league is thanking them right now for that. But and I think lastly is just overconfidence. You won the Pacific, but that's behind us now. You got to focus on what's next, and that's a hopefully short series against Wild. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think you gotta just move on. I mean, it's cool and all, but like you gotta just take that next step. And I think that could bite them if they go into the series way too confident and then it bites them. But yeah, I think those are probably the main three.
Sure. I mean, like, you know, Mariah mentioned about the Wild. They were one of the best teams in the league. I thought they were running away with it for a while. And then, of course, all the injuries. So, I mean, they shouldn't take them lightly for sure. I mean, they can beat teams, right? All right, Mariah, you mentioned a few of the things that you're kind of talking about. What's the one weakness you're really worried about going into this series?
I was going to say Cooper. I'm saying injuries because with the rash of them that the Wild have had, majority of them are not healthy yet, like not at 100%. And like we said, pretty much is any player at this point 100%. But, I mean, it just takes losing one of those guys, and then you're just back at square one. Which, I mean, the one thing I am thankful for is the Wild, when they first did lose those guys, they know how to play without them. They know how to be resilient. They believe in each other. It didn't get them a lot. They were kind of up and down, but, I mean, if they can keep it, if they do get injuries, if it's like one or two and not just a complete rash of them, I think they'll be okay because they were able to do it when it was one or two. It was just once they started piling up and it was everybody at once that it started to really hurt them, even though they never used it as an excuse they still haven't used it as an excuse. They just said next man up mentality, which is why you saw so many names in the lineup, but they were just they're another player. You're on our team. We're playing. We're going. Otherwise, I hate to say it, but I have confidence in the goalie. I was going to say goaltending, but I have confidence in Gus. It's just, again, the fear of something happening. Because, I mean, the Wild, literally, it was November 10th was the last time they had a full roster. They went I don't remember how many games, but it was like 100 and some days of injuries, or longer than that even. And it's just baffling. So even the players last night were talking. They're like, you said it was what date? November 10th since we had this full roster. So, yeah, they just need to stay healthy and don't do anything dumb.
The big one. Yeah, I mean, playoffs, injuries happen quite a bit. And like I've said before, a big part of winning the cup is luck, and that's comes with injury too. You don't get injured, and a lot of cup winners they're pretty healthy for most of the time, or playing not. They're banged up, but they're not bad enough that they're out of the lineup. So we'll see if everyone can stay healthy in this series. All right, let's get to our quick fire round, and these are all just quick 1 to 2 sentence answers for these ones. So I'll start with you, Cooper. An X factor in this series doesn't have to be a player, but it could be a situation, something you mentioned probably before, maybe. But what's an X factor for the Golden Knights in this one?
I was gonna say Shea Theodore, but I guess if it's can think of something cooler than that, I'm gonna go home ice. How do you play at home? I think that's going to be a big thing. They were one of the best teams on home ice. You got to continue that in the playoffs, and I'm interested to see how they react in games 1, 2.
All right, Mariah, what about you for X factor for the Wild?
I'm countering that with road, because we were one of the best road teams in the league. I think we were the best, and I think they fell to second to, I think, Washington, maybe. I can't remember who was above them. But they were the best in the league for a long time. So we said this like months ago amongst the other reporters. We wanted the Wild to get road ice. We're like, nope, no ice advantage. We love the XL. We love when they play in front of us, but it's like, no, start on the road. That's okay.
Especially when you have such a great road record, for sure. So yeah, it's going to be a battle of who is the home ice going to make a difference, or it's great to have that great road record coming in. So we'll see which one wins, I guess, for this one. All right, Cooper, a series MVP. Now, it can be from the team you cover, or it can be from the Wild. Depends on who you think will be the best player in this series.
I think it's a coin toss, at least for me, between Aiden Hill and Jack Eichel. These are two of the, best players in the NHL right now. I think just given the way they're playing right now, obviously 5 years ago, you probably can't say that, but I think they've really elevated their game last year and then up into this year. So, I don't know. It's really pick your poison. I think it just depends on the situations these players get in. But, I'd probably have to go Aiden Hill. He's been on fire as of late. It doesn't seem like anything is phasing him. So I think he has a very strong series.
All right, Mariah, what about you? There's a few to pick from. That could be the best. Who are you going with?
So I have 2. Normally I would say Gustafsson, but I don't want to. He's literally been their MVP all season, so it's not going to surprise me. I'm going to go Kaprizov for the Wild, or Jack Eichel, because the man had a hat trick against us last time. I hate his guts. Jokingly. He drives me crazy, but he is that good.
Yeah, I know he's burned the Canucks a few times here too, so I know the feeling. I did not like it when he was traded into the Pacific Division, because I know how good he is, and I knew that injury was just something that was just holding him back. And yeah, he's back to what he should be. So yeah, for sure, I think he'll be one of the best players in this series for sure. All right, Mariah, I'll stick with you. A bold prediction for this series.
You asked me the one I hadn't prepared for yet. I was just going to wing this. Does this mean like series, like just anything?
Anything that's bold.
Oh, God.
I can come back to you if you want to think about it.
Yeah, give me a second. Cooper,
right, Cooper, what do you got?
You gave me just enough time to think of something, so thanks for stalling for me. But I'm going to go with Tomas Hertl has a hat trick within this series. I think he's had a really good year. I think obviously I don't think anyone was expecting him to get traded at the deadline last year, myself included. But I think he's been injured here and there. He's coming back now, but I think playoffs, he's going to be, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't know who wouldn't be excited for it. So I think he's going to be energized for it. And I think he gets at least one hat trick in this series. All
right, Mariah, you got something now?
Yes, I thought of this, but then once I thought of it, I'm like, okay, hopefully this doesn't mean an injury and it just means they need to swap. I'm going to go with Booyah makes his debut and he scores a goal. I'm just hoping it doesn't mean because somebody's injured. I just hope it means Bogosian or Merrill just needs to have a seat and Booyah comes in.
That's the best case. You don't want him coming in because of necessity. I guess that's what you say, right? But yeah, that's a bold prediction. He may not even enter the series, so that's for sure. And he's going to be a big part of that blue line.
I'm so excited.
May not be in the playoffs here, but
whenever he comes.
All right, final predictions for this series. And Cooper, I'll start with you. Who's winning it, and in how many games?
I think this is going to be a little bit of a longer series than a lot of people give the Wild credit for. I think they look at the standings and where the teams are and be like, oh, that's a sweep for Vegas. Oh, that's 5 for Vegas. Mm-hmm. I think this one goes to 6 games in Vegas's favor. I think just the tangibles are just up there. I mean, it's hard to have the goaltending, the power play, the top 6 that they do. So I think in the end they prevail, but I don't think this will be an easy series at all. If I had to guess, I might look back on this and be like, what was I thinking? But I think they split the first 2 games. And I would not be shocked if the Wild win game 1. Just they're energized. They snuck in the playoffs. They're riding a lot of momentum. And I mean, one thing that I don't like, not that I don't like, that's probably not very good wording, is the Wild have been playing playoff hockey for the past month. They've been fighting for their lives, basically. Golden Knights, I mean, you don't have much to play for once you're already in it, right? I mean, obviously you want to win the Pacific, you want to get in certain spots so you don't have to play Edmonton or LA, but it's like they haven't really had high pressure games in a really long time. So I'm really interested to see how both teams come out, but I think it's going to be a great series.
Sure, I think it's going to be a longer series too. So I'll give you a prediction after Mariah. But Mariah, what do you got?
So you're saying the constant chaos has been a good thing with their play? But I have 2 because I originally was going to say Vegas 4-2, so game 6. If the Wild somehow push it to game 7, I'm saying it's them 4-3. So that's mine.
All right. Well, that's a good one because for sure I mean, I don't know what the history is off the top of my head about teams that force game 7s of who wins it. But it's always a big thing when forcing a game 7. Means you have to win 2 in a row to win the series. But yeah, I want to say 7. I love 7-game series. So most of my predictions, if you look back at so I'll say 7 games, unless it's like a clear one where you're like, yeah, that's definitely a sweep. But I liked long series. I think this goes 7. I do agree with you, Cooper. I think a lot of teams, a lot of experts and people are kind of giving the Wild not enough credit for that. Because, like I said, they were one of the best teams in the league at the beginning of the season. And, don't underestimate guys like Kaprizov, what they can do in a series. And, guys like, Matt Boldy, he's been great this season too. So, I mean, there are a lot of guys that could potentially surprise, and the Golden Knights might have a fight on their hands. So I'm going to go 7 games, but I will say the Golden Knights will win it because I think they are better and probably healthier in maybe percentage-wise of players, I guess. But we'll see.
Why don't you?
I'll go Golden Knights. I don't want it because I don't like the Golden Knights. It's the Canucks in the division here. But I think in this case, they will cut in the 7 games, but we'll see what happens. But thanks, Mariah. Thanks, Cooper, for coming on the show and talking Golden Knights and Wild in this series. We'll see who's back for round 2. But make sure to check out all the stuff at thehockeywriters.com. We've got previews. We've got a whole bunch of fun stuff throughout the series that'll be coming out. So make sure checking everything out. We got recaps, takeaways, fun, everything we'll be having. Make sure checking that out and the Substack and following us on Twitter and Facebook and our everything at this website. But until our next preview, we will see you.